What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. Cork have ran out 222, or Limerick, I should say, have ran out 222 to 117. Winners, of course, over Cork, and Limerick do, in fact, book their place, of course, into the Munster Senior Hurling Final. In the end, for Limerick, it's just another one of those games where Limerick have done what they do best, and they were never at their best in this game, but I think people forget as well that last year in the Munster Championship at different stages, in particular the game against Waterford, semi-final against Galway, they weren't at their absolute best. And I think in this game in particular, they certainly weren't at their absolute best. I think they hit over 20 wides in this game. Very close again to the Clare game last weekend when Clare had a couple of wides. So it was definitely a little strange, this weekend in particular, especially with the Galway-Dublin game as well. And even Wexford to a certain extent today, and Clare last weekend. A lot of wides. Waterford as well, hitting wides last weekend as well. And it's kind of mad, there's all this talk in hurling at the moment that, the slitter is too light and, we need to, maybe there needs to be 2 points for points hitting from the sideline and all these kind of crazy suggestions coming in here and people trying to change the game and do this and do that. We've seen that, there is skill involved in hurling. There definitely is. There's no two ways about it. And maybe it might be easy for some people to think that who were sitting on the couch, but there's a lot of skill involved in hurling, and we've seen this weekend in particular and last weekend that there's a lot of wides, and there is a lot of it isn't as easy maybe as it looks or as people think. In terms of this game though, listen, Limerick, they didn't start the absolute best. Both sides really kind of trading blow for blow kind of early on. I thought Cork's short game was working to a certain extent. Obviously they started well, lovely build-up play, and Shane Kingston gets that goal. Very well slotted past Nicky Quaid. And for Cork in particular, we'll get to the second half, which was really the kind of story of this game where Limerick looked like they were on the ropes a bit, but Cork never, they didn't have that decisive blow in them. They didn't have that. All they needed to do was really go for it, go for those opportunities, go for those goal chances, and they simply didn't do it. But in particular in the first half, there was definitely a stage, up until Limerick got those 2 goals right at the end of the first half, where Cork were competitive. They were keeping themselves in it. I thought Jeremy Burns was fantastic for Limerick. I know Kyle Hayes got the goal and had a tremendous game, but I thought Jeremy Burns, for me, should have got man of the match. I know he got a yellow card and whatnot, but for me, I think he should have got man of the match. I thought he was fantastic, hitting 3 points. And for Limerick in particular, they were always controlling the flow of the game, always controlling the tempo. Cork certainly caused a couple of problems without doubt with the likes of Shane Kingston, Patrick Horgan. They got themselves into good goal scoring opportunities. Obviously, the penalty as well, which was a huge turning point in many ways in the game, because if Patrick Horgan puts that away, I think Cork would have had a 4 or 5 point lead at that point, and it would have been tough for Limerick. Although you'd always feel that Limerick would have the quality, certainly it would have been a lot tougher for Cork. There's no two ways about it. Or tougher for Limerick, I should say. But the 2 goals right at the end of the first half was really, that was the decisive blow in the end. Limerick won up by 8 in the end, but these 2 goals coming right at the end of the first half, knocking the absolute stuffing out of Cork going into the halftime break. Darragh O'Donovan with the first goal, brilliant pass initially by Cian Lynch. And then obviously Kyle Hayes getting himself a goal as well. Very well taken goal on that occasion as well. And for Limerick at that point, a 6 point lead, and you always felt from there that Limerick were always going to cruise to victory, that they were always going to have enough in this game. You felt like they had the quality, but for whatever reason in the second half, whether it was complacency, they were just a little bit tired. I felt Aaron Gillan in particular, even when he went off, I don't know if he picked up a knock or he was a little bit injured, but certainly didn't have that same kind of level to what he was playing at earlier in the game. Cian Lynch was fantastic at different points in the game, hit 3 points. Seamus Flanagan with 2 points as well. Probably didn't have his best game, maybe compared to some games in the league and when he came off the bench in a lot of the games last year. So yeah, for Limerick, definitely kind of going forward, there was definitely a lot of wides in there. William O'Donoghue as well. Grode Hegarty even, hitting some chances uncharacteristically wide. For Cork, though, I think the story here really is there was a stage where Cork got this down to 4 points. And in particular, going into the final 10 to 15 minutes, you were wondering, are Cork going to, kick on here? Are they going to be able to create a couple of goal chances? They needed to take more risks. And for me, they weren't doing it. Owen Cadigan hit one shot wide at one stage, which was a relatively, easy chance, for a player of his quality. Put it wide, and then straight down the other end, I think it was David Reedy who hit it over the bar. And then the gap was back to 5. And, from there, like those were the big kind of turning points or the big moments. And Cork, when they had opportunities to maybe work goals, they instead went for points. And certainly in the final 10 minutes, they should have went for goals more because, with the atmosphere in the ground as well, a goal goes in for Cork if Patrick Horgan or, maybe, the likes of Jack O'Connor gets a goal. All of a sudden, it's a different game. And Limerick are really on the ropes and they're struggling. And Cork have the adrenaline after a goal as well. But for whatever reason, they just didn't seem to have that killer instinct. And that can be sometimes the issue with Cork down the years with hurling. It's not that they don't have the quality or the players. It's just that killer instinct. It's that going for those goal opportunities, taking those risks. Because you've seen Limerick, they have the players to do so. They really do. Limerick's bench made a massive difference, as always. David Reedy and Graham Mulcahy. David Reedy dropped a few short and hit a few wide when he came on. But certainly they just added a bit more intensity to Limerick in terms of they were creating more chances. They were winning more ball. But in particular, man of the match, like I said, Jeremy Burns, I thought was fantastic. Declan Hannon had another brilliant game as well. Sean Finn as well. Like what I said at the end of the second half, when Cork were really kind of gaining the momentum and they were starting to turn the game, it was Limerick's full-back line and half-back line that really kind of dragged them out of it. And Sean Finn and Richie English as well, to be fair, another top-class player there as well. For Limerick, they move on, of course, to a Munster final, a third Munster final in a row for the treaty. For Cork, they go into the qualifiers once again, just like last year. I suppose for Cork, I mean, look, listen, you've got Galway in the qualifiers now, and I know Galway had a horrendous performance today, but surely, Galway are going to improve. And if Galway and Cork play each other, you'd probably fancy Galway, let's be honest. We know Galway have the quality, and I'm sure Shane O'Neill will be rallying into his troops without doubt, going into, the next couple of games. So, look, listen, in particular, I think for Cork, they'll go into the qualifiers, they'll try and rebuild. I don't know what it is, but I don't really think they're going to go far in the All-Ireland. I think they have quality coming through. A lot of under-20 players. Obviously, they're in the under-20 All-Ireland final against Dublin. So there certainly is players coming through. But, the likes of Alan Connolly as well, a few other players. Shane Barrett, to be fair, when he came off the bench, he had 2 points. Made a bit of a difference. But certainly a lot of improvement to do for Cork. For Limerick, they'll go on to that Munster final. They'll be the favourites to win it. And I think from here, I had Galway originally to win the All-Ireland this year and haven't seen them today. I don't know. But Limerick were far from brilliant in this game either. But we know Limerick, even when they don't play well, they're still winning games. And that's kind of the main difference between your Limericks and your Galways and whatnot. But look, listen, we'll go ahead and wrap this up here. Anyway, do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. This has been the match reaction after Limerick's 8-point win over Cork in the Munster Senior Hurling Championship. Do check out the channel as well. There's a number of different match reactions already recorded. The Dublin and Galway game, of course, for myself as a Dublin fan, that was a huge victory for Dublin Hurling. There's no two ways about it. And also the Kilkenny Wexford game, which was an absolute cracker. So if you're new to the channel, check them out. And yeah, as always, I'll see you later.